Let's turn this on. Green on. Okay. Let's see how I look when I'm over there too. So I just should I get this? Yeah, this looks okay. All right. Get that turned on. Green off. Green off. All right. Then let's get these stuff. We got this right here. We're gonna get the chat popped out. There we go. I'm gonna go live on the gram. All right, and I think we're all good. All right. Pottery shelf. Green on. Good morning, chili dogs. What you focus on grows. Feed them horses. All right, we're back again with 3 more pots. I'm gonna get over there in a second, so I'll see you guys over there. Green off. All righty. Sweet, turn this off. Pottery shelf. Oh no, wedging table. So we got number 1 here. I'm gonna plop on over here. Alrighty. I gotta get some water quick. So, move this over here. And just get some new stuff. Got some people saying hello. Hello. Alrighty. Some water on here. And we're gonna start throwing. Alright, a little bit of water. I'm gonna bring this over to me. Alright. Alrighty. Wheel. Hello, everybody. All right. Push this down. Oh no, what's that? I hope it's not turning off. Something about, doesn't really matter. All right, so here we go. So I'm pushing this hand forward and this hand's coming back, and you'll see how that works. So bring this up. Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. Then I'm bringing this up one more time. Got one more. So the whole purpose of this, right, is to get that base nice and centered, right? So you can see right there, it's not really centered. So I'm gonna bring this down. You see how I tilted over to one side? So that's kind of the goal there, right? So I want to get this base. Time goes by so slowly. Yeah. I don't know, actually, I disagree. I feel like this past year has flown by. I feel like once you start thinking about your weeks, how many weeks you got, time goes a lot by faster. Somebody named Mochi spamming some cats in the chat. Time can do so much, that's for sure. Can you make something for me? No, right now I'm just making my trees. So I make 3 trees every single day. I think after July 14th or 17th is when I've made 3 trees a day for a year. And so, tree, yeah, you guys don't even know yet. Okay, so hold on. All right. All the best and strong mentality. All right, so that way you guys can see a little bit more of what I do. I gotta turn this off though, so you guys are gonna see that for just a second. But that's just so you guys can kind of know what I'm about. So I fill rooms of my trees. Yeah, I mean, I just call them trees. But anyway. I'm new to your channel. Thanks. I throw 3 every day, and I've been doing it for almost a year now. And I live stream, so opening this up, check and see if there's any rabbits in there. No rabbits. Fill the pond. You don't want the tadpoles to dry out. Finger coming right across that base, right? This has been the best year for my channel. That's good. How do you get that much clay? I go to a clay supply place, and I get like 800 pounds of clay, and that'll last me maybe about a month and a half, maybe 2 months. All right, spiral, okay. Here we go. So I'm gonna bring this hand right over top. Pottery shelf. Pottery shelf. There we go. And so here I am, I'm bringing this hand over. I always call this the llama pole. The llama bites on, the llama loves volcanoes, right? Can you say hi, Casey, please? I subscribed. I don't know why people like when so many people ask, I don't understand. Is it because you want to hear somebody say your name? I've never really understood that. Because it's been a multiple times. People also ask me all the time if I eat the clay. It's another question that people ask me. Do I sell my stuff? No, I don't sell anything. I'm very selfish, and I want to build a bunch of stuff. When I start doing pottery, I started pottery maybe 6 years ago, but I didn't start the wheel until 4.5 years ago. Before that, I was just doing a lot of sculptural based stuff. But it's all about taking this little bump and you kind of take this up, right? Sorry, the microphone's really close. I gotta whisper. Okay. So, camera B. All right, so here we are. I'm gonna color this in just a little bit. How much do you spend on clay this year? I don't even want to think about it. I think I probably spent more on all the cameras and everything else, the lights and everything, than I have clay though. Somebody says they like my hair. I'm growing it out to get to have 2 giant Willie Nelson braids. That's my goal. I'll throw them over my shoulder. Okay. So here we go. Again, we go right down to the bottom. The clay, it always gives us a gift, right? And the gift is this bump, and it also gives us a quest. And the quest is take this bump all the way to the top. And so you can see I'm slowly just take that little bump and I lift that up. They call it a pole, but to me it's more of a lift, right? You lift a baby bird up into the sky. You get to that top. There you go. Okay. So now I'm going to get a little bit of that water out of that interior there. All right. Sweet. Okay. Again, I'm right at the bottom edge here. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. And you just want to make sure they're nice and even there, getting ready for the tree twist. Again, somebody's asking, do I eat clay? Why does everybody ask that? I don't understand. I've ate clay before, yes. I'm going to spread this right on the top there. And this is the tree top, right? Kiss that rim just a little bit. There we go. So I'm gonna push this clay right on the bottom down, right to the edge here. And this chunk, a lot of people get rid of this clay here on the bottom, right? But this is where I think there's a lot of potential, right? I don't trim these pots, right? So I try to get the bottom as thin as I can so that I can have some more, what does it taste like? It's more of a texture. It kind of just tastes like mold. It tastes wet, obviously, right? Like, it tastes like clay. I think that's the best I can describe it, but it's more of a texture, right? Like if your clay has some grog in it, which is like already fired little chunks of clay, that stuff will get in between your teeth, and it's very sandy almost, right? But here I am, I'm lifting up this little edge. Some water right underneath. Grab your pinky, pull this up just a little bit. All right, so here we go. And if I'm looking at this, I think for this one looks like it wants to be a double tendril, right? Or maybe, we'll see. Yeah, double tendril on this one. Okay, so there's one. Bring that around, and there's two. And so once you have a double tendril, you start leaving the realm of pottery, or what's the word? Pattern, right? And they start getting, in my opinion, they start treading into sculpture, where this pattern of the tendril starts acting more animated, like appendages, right? And so I like to think about these tendrils as almost like arms. So I'll curl these up. I always say the less you touch these things, the better they'll turn out, right? And I think that's across the board with ceramics, you know? The more and more you touch something, the more and more opportunity for things to go wrong imbue into the object, right? So I bump these two in, and there we go. There's number one, guys. And so you can see there's a slight rip here, so this is probably gonna collapse the top, so you'll see at the end. I'll lift this up. All right. Yeah, no worries, take your time, no worries. All right, so here's number one. All right, camera A. Wedging table. All right, so this is one. I'm gonna grab another one here. All righty. On. Ah, thanks, I appreciate it. Oh wow, oh, you guys are asking a lot of questions. Does the wheel make the clay twist, or is it manual? Yeah, no, this is an electric wheel. Can I get mod? I don't know what that really means. I've never done I don't know what mods are yet. I'm still new to the whole streaming stuff. I've been doing it every day for a while, but I usually don't get a lot of viewers enough to know what a mod means or does. So for right now, probably not, all right? Mod pizza. I like pizza. I'm gonna bring this up. All right, pottery shelf. Ah, thanks, I appreciate it. Oh, my day was pretty busy. So today I got to finish some pots that I helped make for a workshop. So usually what happens is I'll get asked to do like a sort of workshop for like different sort of companies and stuff. In this case, it was an insurance company, and I think a lot of times like when they try to do the wheel, it prevents them from getting to be a little bit more creative, right? And so what I normally do is I will throw everything, and so then they can just decorate the objects, right? And then I'll glaze everything for them. So today I was glazing and loading kilns at one of the places I work at, and then I also am doing another class called Collaborative Vessel, and that's where I make all the objects, and I'll give the students like a prompt at the beginning, and I'll say, all right, here's 2 mugs, right? 2 mug forms. Make them interact with each other somehow. Visually, make them interact. Whether it's, something on the surface, right, that has them interact, or them actually interacting with each other. So that's usually kind of fun, I think, for the younger folks, so they don't get frustrated on the wheel, right? I think a lot of people view the wheel as a very peaceful and meditative thing, right? And that's the perception that people give online. But for me, it's always a battle. But that's kind of what I did today. So thanks for asking. I hope your day is also going well. Do you do these in your house or like a shed or another building? I live in an apartment, so right now the basement of this apartment building split up into like a bunch of different little mini rooms for storage, and I converted it into a little impromptu studio. Just until I get my barn in the woods. That's my goal. All right. Camera B. So that's all we're doing is we're just lifting up this little bump. Remember, it's like a slug's going to his next meal. My favorite piece I've done? It's gotta probably be one of my trees, or maybe some of my mugs. One of those two. But yeah, I think I make these trees every day, so it's kind of like hard for me to really sit with them. And I haven't fired or glazed a single one of the trees. Again, we're finding this little bump, so I don't think I really have a favorite. I've always thought, a little bit wobbly on that top, but that's okay. For me, it's never about what I do. It's more about what it does for my mentality, right? And so I don't really even like pottery or clay or ceramics at all, actually. It's just the thing that I told myself I would. I had a really bad problem when I was younger where I'd give up at the first inkling of adversity, right? And eventually I told myself, all right, no more giving up. And that's when I found clay. And so even though I hate it, it does kind of callous my mind. And so I will just keep doing it for the rest of my life now. And I'd donate to help you get that barn if I could. It's okay, don't really, for me, you're already donating. The most valuable thing that somebody can gift another human is their time, right? And so right now you're gifting me your time by just watching, so that's kind of how I view it. So don't really worry. Some people saying hello, I hope you all are doing well. So right now I'm pulling this little, I call it the skirt of the tree. And so I'm kind of getting this thinned out here on the bottom, and so then I'll pop this little skirt on the bottom up, and I'll turn it either into tendrils, petals. Sometimes I do something, it's kind of similar to grass, but I don't think I call it grass. Thanks, I appreciate it. Oh, that's kind of you guys. It's incredible how I get those individual legs to form. Oh, you're talking about these. Well, I think for me, a lot of potters, right, they spend a lot of time making pots that have already been made for thousands and thousands of years, right? I'd rather spend my life not following a path that's already been predetermined, right? I'd rather spend it trying to go through this unknown jungle of pottery and try to discover new forms, right? And so that's kind of my mindset. This is just one step. You know, I have my whole life ahead of me, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, so we got 9. So on 9, you know, usually we don't do too much on a 9, but we'll try to do the petals, but we're gonna have one of the petals is gonna be a little bit, it's not gonna line up because it's not even, right? And so you'll kind of see what I'm talking about here in a moment, but I'll bring these up, and I call these the petals of the tree. And I think, you know, when I do the petals, you can see they're not totally even because I had to force one instead of them naturally forming. But yeah, what does, that does look really hard to glaze. Yeah, the bisque, you mean? Yeah, you know, a lot of people tell me, like, how can you fire these? It seems like there's air bubbles in them. You know, there's probably a bunch of air bubbles in them, but I think the thing that people don't understand about air bubbles, it's not really, it's more about the moisture, the content in it, and then also how fast you're firing your objects, right? Hold on, camera A, right? And so if you're firing your objects really, really fast, you know, there's a stage of ceramics when it's firing called quartz inversion. All of a sudden, things will usually shrink all of a sudden, right? Within a couple degrees, 2%, right? Once it gets past quartz inversion, you know, that's where a lot of things usually blow up, right? So if there's any moisture content, you know, or if you go too fast through that, usually that's where things explode. But yeah, and these, you know, they're fine. I usually dip them first in like a really thin glaze, and then I'll use a spray gun, right? And I'll spray the glaze and kind of hit the angles. But I haven't glazed these trees at all, but I've glazed things similar to them. But yeah. All right, so here I am pushing this down. Awesome. All right, so here we go. All right, wheel. Today I don't have my head camera on. Usually I have my head camera on, but it's not charged all the way, so I'm also using, I make 3 trees, and then that's all I do for the day. And then after this, well, I get to eat dinner because I'm starving, and then I'll edit all the footage, and I'll usually take the live stream and I'll split it up into, you know, 10 to 16 chunks usually. And then after that, I'll post those, and I'll schedule them to post, you know, every couple hours as short format content on YouTube, right? And so my whole idea is like I want to try to get as much out of my time as possible, right? And so that's how I even came to do the live streaming, actually, because I thought it'd probably be pretty good. So it's starting to twist, but I'm just going to keep my hands calm, cool, and collected, right? And you can kind of see that wiggle underneath there, but I just kind of tame that with this right hand. Again, I'm pushing right down on top. I'm using the hammer fist to go right down. And then the key with this is you split this up into thirds, right? And you only keep your hand on this third. Don't lose your wrist. Just like in arm wrestling, you don't want to lose your wrist. As soon as you do, you know, you're put in a bad situation there, right? I'm bringing this other hand, my right hand, right over top, and I'm pulling that off-centered clay out, and it's filing right into that palm, right? So it's keeping it together there. All right, again, I'm gonna go right down to the middle here. Center just a little bit more. My fingers down in the middle. All right, wheel. Wheel. All right, I'll pull this open. Yeah, thanks. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Sleep well, bro. All right. right there. Opening this up, I always say, like, you almost want to use your fingers as like cutting tools, not really pushing the clay around. You want to cut through the clay on that bottom, and so that way you don't have to, you know, use as much force to move the clay, right? Right down to this bottom edge. Grab your little llama here. Llama bites down, slowly pulls this up. I'm going to slow my wheel down just a little bit. Sometimes I spin it a little bit too fast. That clay in there. Again, I'm going to take some of my sponge here, a little bit of water right on that edge. Take my knuckle right underneath here. I'll start pulling this up. I'm just trying to maintain that little bump. The first couple pulls, they're not really to get height. They're really supposed to, I said aimbot. Funny. All right, camera B. Camera B. All right, but the first couple pulls are really not for height, right? The first pulls are really to get these walls even, so then you can go for a height pull to find this little bump. And this is where you got to start talking to your clay, right? As you are touching the clay, it's giving you information about what it's allowing, what it's going to allow you to do, right? And so it's almost like you're plugging in a data cable, and your hands are the cables, and touch is the way that you're communicating and talking with the object, right? And so, for me, that's kind of all that pottery is. A little bit of water right underneath. So I'm collaring this up to get some more height. When you collar, you should gain some height out of it. Don't just collar for no reason, right? Get some height out of that. Again, right down to the bottom. And this pull, I don't really want to get too much more height. This pull is mostly about getting this wall as even as I can. But again, we're still creating this little bump, just not as sharp as the bump. So, and we're slowly just walking this up. Remember, it's like that slug trying to go get his next meal. He's moving as fast as he can, but he's still just a slug, right? Somebody said L. So funny. All right, right underneath. Get some water underneath here. All right, some more. Okay, here we're gonna go. Get ready for this bottom here. And we're slowly just gonna walk these twists up, right? And so you saw earlier, I did only a couple pulls, but if you slowly walk this twist up, you'll see it starts twisting a lot lower. And usually this allows it to get a little bit tighter of a twist here, right? So I'm just bringing this up, get it as even as I can. Get ready. Start pulling this out. And you don't want to go too thin. Start raising that hand up. Slowly let off. Kiss that rim, and there you go, right? It's okay. I really don't mind the hate comments, right? Like the people who say hate comments or inappropriate comments and stuff like that. You got to remember they're taking their time, which is the most valuable thing that a person has, is their time, and they're spending it commenting and trying to produce negativity, right? And so just by them commenting that, right, like they've already lost in my mind, right? So it really actually don't get offended. I actually feel kind of bad, right? And I hope that the people who comment that sort of things can find stuff in their life that can propel them, right, and create a necessity to do things, you know. And that's what I hope my content can produce for people online. Is maybe you don't want to, you know, do pottery, but perhaps you want to you discover something that drives you forward throughout your life by just watching me explore clay. All right, so here we go. And for this one, we're going to do a pattern tendril on the bottom. A little bit less. 6. All right, great. Curl these up. And so these are when the tendrils start functioning more like a pattern, right, or grass, or some sort of foliage on the bottom of the tree, right? So I'll curl these up. I first had this idea for these when I was making a bunch of thrown flowers, right? And I'd pull handles off the flowers so they'd be the stems. And I'd set them in vases, and then they would droop over in the kiln almost like they were dying. So it was kind of cool. I'd have like these vases that, you know, you first, when you make the handles, they're just, you know, straight up and down, right? And then all of a sudden, yeah, you should go sleep, yo, no worries. But I would make these, and you'd set them in a vase, right? And during the firing process, once your clay gets hot enough, it actually starts to melt or almost become glass-like. They call that vitrification, right? And when the clay starts vitrifying, all of a sudden it will bend over, right, in the kiln, right? And so sometimes a lot of people use firing as like a process to surface their objects, not as a process to generate new forms, right? And so that was the fun thing, is when I'd open up the kilns, I'd see these flowers totally drooped over. It's really interesting to me. Anyway, camera A. All right, pottery shelf. Pottery shelf. Yeah, that's the fun part about these things, is I'm trying to maximize potential and then react accordingly to every single piece, right? So I like to think of them as songs in an album. Every song is a little bit different, right? But only in context with each other does it really make the album shine, right? So there's number 2. So you can see that one's kind of dipping over, right? So that's already collapsed, but the rim is holding it together, right? So as this rim collapses down, right, it rests on that interior spiral, so the pots are literally holding each other up, right? I'm actually a big fan of this pot. I'll show you guys what this one looks like. And so you can kind of see it's dipping down at Tor, but I feel like once that, well, here, let me get over there first, and then I'll talk about it in a second here. I think I could probably go a little bit down. How does that look? That looks fine. All right, so here we are. Green on. Pew. Hello, everybody. Shrunk myself down here so I can talk about the pots. Well, anyway, this pot right here, you know, I'm actually quite a big fan of this one. I'm still using the tendrils as a pattern, right? Almost like that foliage on the bottom of the tree. It's more of a basic form. There's nothing too crazy happening on that top tree top there, right? But I always say that you gotta have some of the more mundane pots to highlight the extraordinary ones, right? Only in context does rarity really matter, right? If you open 100 loot boxes and only out of one of those loot boxes something rare happens, right? That's what actually gives it like that value or rarity. But anyway, on this one right here, you know, this dropped a little bit, but it's resting right on that interior spiral, right? And so I think this one personally is pretty cool. I also like the way, I don't know if you can see the little tendril right here peeking out over top that edge. I always like when the tendrils start becoming appendages. And the one on the top, I was talking about it right before I started. I did petals on the bottom edge there on the skirt. And then on the top, you can see that it collapsed over and it ripped open. I call it a water fissure, right? Tore open and then dips down. The rim starts acting less like a rim and more as a framing device for that spiral that's happening on the interior. And that's what I like about those. But anyway, guys, again, thank you so much for watching. All the best in strong mentality. And I think I'll end it off with Goated 2. All right, guys. I see, oh, my ad blocker's showing. All right, guys, I'll see you around, okay? Peace.